I am making homemade tortillas. I already made the tortilla and rolled them out, and now I'm cooking them. Here's one that I already made. And now it needs to start bubbling up and cooking, and then I'll flip it. This is a new recipe that I tried. I'm separating the tortillas with parchment paper. A couple of them I'm going to eat tonight for dinner, and then a couple I'm going to keep in the fridge so I can eat them tomorrow, and then the rest I'm going to try to freeze them. Oh, here it goes. It's starting to bubble up. Let's see how the color is. Oh yeah, it's starting. This is pretty fun. Sorry for all the shadows and stuff. It's nighttime and I didn't feel like setting up my ring light, but I did want to share with you guys my freshly made tortillas. It really was easy. It was just salt, water, flour. I kneaded it. I let it sit for a half an hour, and then I cut it into 8 separate pieces and rolled them out. And now I'm cooking them. Yay! I'm going to make fajitas with leftover steak that I made for breakfast. It actually snowed a little bit last night. Not much, and it really sounds like rain. You can hear the water just draining. It is pretty to have a little bit of something this morning, though. With the snow comes an urge to bake something. I've been wanting something sweet and yummy, and I've just been too lazy to make anything. So here's my well-loved recipe book. It's so destroyed, but these are things that I use all the time. I just print them out and get them wet and whatever. Easy apple cake is something that I love to make, and I use whatever fruit I have on hand. I use whatever oil, whatever sugar, whatever I have. And today I've got some bananas to use up, and I think I'll throw a few huckleberries in there too. All right, let's get going. Let's get to baking. This recipe calls for 1 3/4 cup of sugar, but I like 1 1/2. I know it's only a little bit less, but I think it makes a difference in the taste. I don't like it too sweet. It calls for butter or oil. It actually calls for oil, but sometimes I use butter. I'm going to do oil if I have enough. Ooh, we'll see. This recipe calls for 3 eggs, which I think is what makes it so good. Oh, look at that. Oh, it might just be just a tiny bit under, but I think it'll be okay. I'm going to let it just drip for a little bit and see how much I can get out. We're going to call it good. I had just put vegetable oil on my shopping list this morning. It's like I knew. Let's see, this calls for a teaspoon of vanilla. Fun fact, since I am in recovery, I will use vanilla extract if I'm baking. But other things like chia pudding, stuff like that, I like to use powdered vanilla because I just don't want the alcohol in any form. It may sound extreme, but my sobriety is important to me. I might have to put eggs on the grocery list too. Still have like 6, but oh, I've got garbage over here instead of under the sink. I've got garbage I'm going to take down after I'm done baking this. All right, I'm going to get all my flour and salt, baking soda, those ingredients in the bowl now. All right, I got some more coffee. Copious amounts of coffee when it snows. All right, I've got my flour, 2 cups of flour, 1 1/4 teaspoons of baking powder, a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of ground cinnamon, but let's be honest, it's probably like 2. When anything calls for cinnamon, I'm just like, heaping. Yeah, I like cinnamon. 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. And I've got my 3 eggs, my 1.5 cups of sugar, my teaspoon of vanilla extract, cup of vegetable oil, and now I'm going to combine them. I think the recipe actually says just to put it all in the same bowl, but I really like to separate my dry from my wet, and I like to whisk up the ingredients because sometimes baking powder can really clump up if you don't whisk it. So I'm going to let that just moisten as I gently fold that in. And today, like I said, I've got 2 bananas that are really ripe, and I'm going to mash them up. And this recipe calls for 2 cups of apples. And sometimes I do 2.5. I really like my stuff fruity. But I am going to mash this up and see where I'm at. I'm guessing it's going to be like a cup. Oops, wrong side. Yeah, I would say it's a good cup, maybe 1.5 cups. And what I'm going to do is add some frozen huckleberries that I have to make the full 2 cups. And no, I've never tried this pairing, so we'll see how it is. Sounds good though. Let's take a look. Yeah, that might have overshot the mark, but that's okay. We're just going to go with that. I'm going to stir the 2 together. And I bake this recipe with fresh ingredients, frozen ingredients. It doesn't really even change the cook time very much. I find that using frozen stuff makes it more moist, probably because there's more, huckleberry down. Whew, at least it didn't even go on the rug. That could be staining. Ooh, I think this is going to be really good. Now that it's mixed, how much do I have? Yeah, it is like 2 cups. All right. So I got to finish incorporating this stuff over here. And anything with baking powder, you don't want to stir too much. It can get really hard. So I think that's good. Now I'm going to put the fruit in. Ooh, I hope this is good. It smells good. And I already have a greased 13 by 9 pan, and my oven has been preheating at 350. Yeah, I think the snow is going to completely melt off by noon. It's 35 degrees out there, and it's supposed to get a high of 40, which is kind of cool because that means I don't need to deal with any snow removal, although I might get the light stuff off the deck. Ooh, this looks good. Sure is pretty. I'm going to get a scraper because I want to get every last bit. My oven is preheated and this is ready to go in there. Ooh, looks good. I'll show you what it looks like after it's done. While that's baking, we can have some coffee talk. Down in the reading room right now. This apron, I just want to say I made with some fabric that was really special back in the day. Like we're talking, gosh, long time ago, like probably 14 years ago. This is a bigger Blythe head, but there's also Blythe fabric with like little Blythe heads for the doll clothes. I'm almost out of every colorway that I have, and that will be a sad day. Anyway, I wanted to talk this morning. I had an emotional breakdown yesterday. Just cried a lot. Really got into some grief as I was cleaning and organizing my sewing room and other parts of the house. It just started bringing up so many feelings. It's been, 2 years and 7 months since Mike passed away? Almost 8. Yeah, anyway, it just brought up a lot of feelings. I think when I get rid of things, it almost feels like I'm getting rid of parts of him, even if it's my stuff, which I don't want to be a hoarder. So I'm really seizing those feelings and dealing with them. I don't want to hold on to stuff just because I think it was him, because it's not. He's in here and always will be. And sometimes I just need to get rid of stuff that I don't really love. And there's still parts of him all over the house. I am down right now in what used to be his office, and there's pictures on the wall that were his. And yeah, this chair was from our house before this house in California. I'm looking at his leather sofa and leather chair that were his before I even came into the picture. But there will always be little bits of him around me, but more importantly, he resides within me. But it felt really good to actually just to cry so hard. I don't think the grieving will ever stop, but it does change. There was a time after he first died that like I could not sit with those feelings. I absolutely could not sit with them. And now I can really feel the loss, feel the sadness, but more importantly, I can sit with it and not completely fall apart. So, yeah, so it's exactly a week yesterday that I've been staycationing here, and it's the longest that I've been here by myself since he passed away, I think. Um, I mean, like, yes, I was after he died, but I was spending the night at other people's houses. People were spending the night here. I didn't spend a lot of time at home at all. And like I have been staycationing. I have really been here for like days on end. And then I'll go to church or tomorrow I'm going to a meeting, stuff like that. But I've really been spending alone time and really diving into the nooks and crannies of the house. And yeah, so that's where I'm at as far as that goes. And I'm trying not to eat the feelings. Yes, I do realize that I'm baking today, but I haven't. I've just been eating normal meals. I haven't made any cookies. I thought about it every night, but then I'm like, too lazy. I don't want to. So yeah, I'm baking something today, and that'll be great. Anyway, just sharing a little bit of my life with you guys, the real stuff. So I told you yesterday I was organizing and cleaning a bunch of stuff, and mostly in my sewing room. I thought I'd show you guys what I'd been working on. I really went through my fabric, and I'm giving 3 large bags away to a friend because I just got really honest about what I actually like to sew with and what I don't. I made a dress yesterday and got it in the shop. I'm working on a couple more. I'm excited to get into that after my baking this morning. And over here, I don't even know if I ever showed this before. This was a hot mess. And now everything is really organized. And all of my fabric is either this little pile right here. This is stuff that I'm going to be sewing with coming up. And all of that is where my fabric is, except I do have 2 tubs under my bed, which have some more like holiday fabrics, Halloween and Christmas. And then you can kind of see under there, but they're not really large. I'm excited. So cool. I guess I could turn this so that you could see me. Here I am. Anyway, so yeah, I'm really excited that I got a handle on all that. And over my shoulder, you can see some of the snow on the railings and the driveway. Anyway, just doing stuff around the house. I might set up a video so you can see me sew. I don't know how exciting that will be, but I have had some people ask for it, so see how that goes. So, wow, this smells so amazing. It smells like yummy, yummy banana bread. Man, I feel like I should call my neighbor and see if she wants to come over for some. I just finished shoveling off the driveway, and let me tell you, that is some wet, slushy snow. I think I probably have water droplets on my glasses because it's like, I think 36 degrees out there, and it's warming up even more, but it was thick enough that I thought, ooh, if I don't get this before the temperature drops again, it's going to be a skating rink. So I did that, and now I'm ready to have some of my cake. So here it is. It's really pretty, and it smells amazing. Let's see how it tastes. Oh my gosh. Yum. Look at those huckleberries. So I ended up not inviting my neighbor because her husband doesn't eat cinnamon. And I hate to be like, oh, only you come over and not Jim. So I'm just enjoying a piece here. And tomorrow I'm going to a meeting and I will bring the leftovers there. I decided that I would film myself oiling and cleaning my sewing machines, 2 of them anyway. I just put the sleeves in of these 2 dresses, and I thought, it's time. I had just wound a bobbin. The lighting on the inside here was recommended to me when I first got this sewing machine, and I'm so glad that it was, because without it, it's so dark. Really dark. It looks brighter on here than it is in reality. So it just gives me the light that I need to be able to see. So I need to dust this. I need to oil it. And I'm also going to do it for this one. So this is my Elna. And she was given to me by Mike when I'd been sewing for 2 years. It was my first really nice sewing machine. And I got my Juki, I don't know how many years it's been. It's been a little while now. But yeah, I finally invested in a really nice machine. And I also, in the case down there, I have a Singer Featherweight, which is also awesome. Before, I would sew on this as my main sewing machine, and then I would have the feather weight down there for gathering stitches. So that's what these two do now. This is my sew everything, and this is my gathering stitch. It's just nice to have the two that I can go between back and forth. And also I've got my microfiber cloth that I'm gonna dust all this. Ooh, so dusty. And this is my oil, my screwdriver, and I really recommend putting, if you use freight check, put it far, far away, because you don't want to accidentally put freight check and not oil. I think you can see everything that I'm doing if I put it right here. I'm going to start by taking out the threads. Whoop. I'm also going to take this plate off. Ooh, now I can see all the dirt and grime in there. See that? Dirty, dirty, dirty. All right. I'll wipe that real well. I have a little paintbrush that I use to get all the dust and gunk out of there. Look at that. Some people say don't use a blower on your sewing machine, but I like to. Ooh, really get some gunk out of there. Oh, hello. All right. I'm going to wipe everything down. And this is just sticky, by the way, which is pretty cool. And I did put some tape on it because I heard that if you didn't ground it, that it actually can cause a short in your sewing machine. So also good information. Right. At this time, I will also change the needle because that's always nice to do when you're doing all this other stuff. And I have a different foot on here than what it comes with. I like 1/4 inch foot and not an 1/8 inch foot. So that's just me because of sewing doll clothes and stuff. All right, so time for some oil. There are holes up here. And holes down here. And right on the bobbin hook inside. I'm going to put some there too. I'm going to put this plate back on. I usually just get the screws started with my fingers. Well, usually. That one doesn't seem to want to go in for me. There we go. I have a shorter screwdriver too that came with my Elna. And by the way, my Juki's name is Joe. My singer's name, gosh, what is my singer's name? Oh, I named it after the woman who, a guy I bought it from, it was his grandma's or something, and I named it after her. And oh, I can't think of her name. Well, it'll come up on my memories or something at some point, and then I'll let you know. All right, I'm going to put the bobbin back in. When I was first learning to sew, I would always have to look at my manual on how to thread things and how to do everything. But over time, it just becomes the norm. And I was used to having a bobbin, or not a bobbin, but a thread cap, but really don't need one with the sewing machine, which is really nice. And I can see some areas that still need a little dusting. Oh, got to get my new needle. I like these really sharp ones because they just work with every kind of fabric, especially the more delicate fabrics like Liberty of London fabrics and any kind of sheer thing. I don't sew with sheer stuff as much because they're a pain in the butt, but I used to a lot. All right, and then I'm going to get a scrap piece of fabric that I can sew with, because after you oil a machine, it's going to get oil on your fabric. So it's really important to sew on a scrap. And I sew quite a while because I really don't want any oil on the fabric that I will be sewing. I really don't see any. That's a good sign. Well, a little bit. If you look real close. I don't know if you can see that, but there is a little bit of oil there. You definitely want to sew until that oiliness is gone. Let's see if, oh yeah, you can tell the difference. The oil here and then no oil. So yay. All right. I am going to do this exact same thing to my other sewing machine and then get back to sewing. All right, everything is nice and oiled. And now I'm going to pin these dresses. I'm in the finishing stages. Sew them up, do the hem, add my logo tag, little Rosie Galooty tag in the dresses. I spend a lot of time ironing when I'm sewing. I'm actually down on the ground right now. I spend so much time in the chair that when I get the opportunity, it's just nice to come down and sit Indian style, or cross-legged as people say. I grew up with Indian style. Um, I know that's not supposed to be the correct thing to say, but it was ingrained in me in kindergarten. What can I say? So I'm going to iron all the seams open and make everything look nice. I will iron the hem up so it's really easy to sew. And yeah, you do have to watch that you don't burn the crap out of your fingers. But I've been doing it a long time, so I'm pretty confident in my abilities. But every once in a while, I do steam my hand, and it hurts like heck. I like to iron the little sleeves. Just makes everything look nice. Yeah, and then I'll sew the little hem and continue to cut any little threads that need it. And then I'll put the label in there. I'm going to fit it onto Hannah, my model now. This is Hannah. I always try my things on a model because you just never know. Sometimes things go wonky and it won't fit, and I don't want anybody receiving any item of clothing that does not fit their girl or their boy. I have one boy, Blythe. His name is Luke. So now I know that that fits, and I will go into where I keep my little labels. And I'm going to put a little Rosie Galooty label on the inside, and it will get secured when I sew this together. So after this step, I will, it's going to be under there. You'll be able to see the full name once it's sewn. And yeah, then after this step, I will put snaps on or any embellishments that I want to, and that's kind of how I sew my dresses. Here are the girls ready to model the dresses for the shop. Sadie and Owen. I am super busy shoveling and I'm towards the end, but seriously, I wanted to give you guys a look at how deep this is, and it is pretty deep. And it's been fun because Jay and I have been chatting on video while I've been doing this. It's totally sunny in California after a big storm, though. But oh, it's so beautiful out here. Oh my goodness. And this is a good workout. So yeah, back to it. It is absolutely gorgeous out here right now. I just finished completely clearing the driveway. There were icy track marks and I broke all of it up and cleared it. Oh, look at that. It's just breathtaking. I am getting slightly covered in snow, but it feels so good after shoveling.